Hello, everyone. There's a lot of news going on. The biggest thing right now is the Trump and Zelensky and JD Vance had a little tussle. So I wanted to watch that with you guys, and then also Trump also made English the declared language of America. Now you think we wouldn't have to declare it, but now we do. Our people are changing and their language is changing, so we have to make it the official language. And we should have an official religion as well. I don't know. It's an interesting topic. So here's the exchange. I'll show you guys. Let me see.
People, you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people in your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
that.
You will not have war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel. Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good. We're going to feel very good and very strong. You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. But right now, you don't. Yeah, you're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, you said thank you. You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation to the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war,
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is in big trouble. Wait a minute. No.
My
You've done a lot
God.
of talking.
That sounds like when
your
you're
country
arguing with
is
your
in
wife.
big trouble.
You're yelling at me.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks.
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet.
You haven't been alone. We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion. We gave you military equipment, and your men are brave, but they had to use our military. If you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
Maybe less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
Again, just say thank you.
I said a lot of times
Except
to American people.
Except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look. If you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire. I want a ceasefire because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about a ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me. That wasn't with me. That was with a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person. That was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful. Because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
Wow. So that was the interaction. You're probably going to see it for the next week and a half, maybe. I don't know. I'll probably jump right out of the news cycle like everything else. But yeah, it was interesting. Thing that I remember is when the Ukraine war first started in YouTube, because I used to watch a lot of geopolitics on YouTube. I would scroll through my shorts, and when I would, it seemed like this was a major topic, and even before the war, we had all the countries that tell you about their military and pretty much how powerful they are on the world scale based on reports, and you would see that they would post about how Russia is huge and could take over Ukraine in one day, pretty much. And then as soon as the war started, there was this sentiment of that no, actually. With United States technology, we're putting up a good fight against Russia. And then it started getting crazy where Ukraine was like, man, we might beat Russia. And then you were hearing reports, I don't know if any of you remember it, when you even heard about Ukraine in Russia taking over Russian cities, that their death count was way higher than Ukraine's. And now we find out that that was all a scam. And that all the geopolitics that were in our country that we were being fed to on YouTube, it was all a scam. And it made us easy. It made our whole public shift, even people on the right and the left, think that we have to help Ukraine, and that not only do we have to help Ukraine, but that Ukraine had a chance in this in any way, and that it was not a crazy thing to take on Russia from Ukraine like in the way that we were. And now we're seeing, I think there's two methods of dealing with, because what we're dealing with is like there's America and then there's Russia and China, right? And then China's the big dog. They're number two. They're close to us. And that's who we're mostly worried about. But now you have BRICS, Russia, China, and Brazil and India. And I forget the other, United Arabs, I think is one of them. And you have that faction of the economy that they're kind of like trying to build up. And we're trying to corner them and we're trying to fracture that. And I think Trump's now taking a shift to maybe not, so I wouldn't say making friends with Russia, but maybe making deals with Russia, sitting at the table with Russia, listening to Russia, so that way we can break up that faction and hopefully focus on our main enemy, which is China. I do know what was interesting that I recently read is that China is now voting with Europe and against Russia in some of their things that, try to claim that Russia is the enemy here and the aggressor here in the war. And they're also sending Ukraine funding for different, things to help children and help people in war, like aid in financial form, almost $1 billion. So not nothing. So China knows if we make friends with Russia, that we're right next to them. We are right next to them. If Russia ends up being our friends, they're in big trouble. So we should pay attention. That's what Trump's doing. But also, too, it feels really good to have somebody like Trump and Vance who are in the White House. And like I said, we're hearing all these things and that don't make sense. We're being lied to on that. And then Trump and Vance get in there and say, hey, we're done being lied to. This is how we feel. This is what it is. These are the cards on the table. And this is our negotiation. And this is what we're doing. And I'm not going to listen to the bull crap. And then I think they even mentioned later on in this meeting about how Zelensky takes people from Europe and from all these people that are going to give him aid, and they do tours of how great they're doing, and they only tour, the type of areas that are nice, that are not attacked, and then they miss out on all the areas that have been attacked and been destroyed, kind of making it seem like Ukraine's really putting up a good fight, and that there's actually a chance for them to pull off a victory in this war. And I understand them doing that for their perspective, financial perspective, but, we've been led astray by Ukrainians and by those people, and I think, and maybe we haven't at mass scale as like what some people say, and we probably haven't been in one side of the political spectrum says they've totally led us array, the Tucker Carlsons, and then you have the other side that's like, no, Ukraine, Russia is a dictator, Putin's a dictator and it's so bad, Russia's so bad, and I think we're somewhere in the middle, like Trump said, he wants to be in the middle, so I think that's pretty much what's going on. And I think we all see that. It's hard to get over. It's hard to do any news when something like that happens, because it's like, man, that's the biggest thing. No one else wants to know about anything else besides that. But you remember yesterday when we were supposed to get the Epstein files and everyone was like freaking out, and then I said, yeah, I don't believe Pam Bondi. I don't think we're going to get anything. We're going to get the same old thing we always got. And a few other people said that. That's exactly what happened. We didn't get anything. Nothing special. I mean, it was just same old thing. No, I mean, there's nothing we can do with any of that. Now she's saying on Friday, or does she saying today, or I guess next Friday, that we're supposed to be getting another drop of some kind. I mean, stop blacking all the names out. We can't do anything with any of that. All we know is that there were masseuses, a list of masseuses who don't have their names. There were a list of, flight logs and people, things like this, and then contacts and stuff like this. Nothing you can do with that. And that's we already had that. So nothing new. Of course, right? Here's something interesting. Trump signed an order to make English the official language of the United States of America. Wow. I mean, I can't even believe that we have to do that, but I understand why, because like just like with religion and state should be separate, but we're going to have to make America a Christian religion one time, because we're going to lose that too. I mean, we're going to lose everything that it is to be American because we're being invaded. And so that's why having that made English our official language, I think it's appropriate, and that's what we need to do for sure. Put it into law. But then the next president will probably come in unless they do something, unless they pass it somehow to where it can't be, changed. Then next president's going to come in and make it maybe a different language. Who knows? Or make it like dual language. Any language can be the official language, and we can change language, change pronouns. Let's see. Financial news, Google becomes one of the last big companies to back out of DEI. There's still a few. Al Sharpton, I guess they're doing some type of, they're making people like boycott certain businesses because in order to show their power. So that's going on. You can look into that, but if you wanted to, that's what they're doing. Maybe you can go and then support those companies that they're boycotting in order to counteract. Costco is, I know, a big one that's hanging on for dear life. Just gonna hurt them. Warren Buffett is selling off on the S&P 500. That's news, and that's kind of a sign, right? What's happening with, there's a lot of things about the market crashing. Some of the reasons are Trump's tariffs, the buzz on AI that was so big earlier a few months ago. And now we see the returns and the reports. We're noticing that the AI buzz is not as big as we thought, even though it's still good though. It's not bad. It's just not like what they thought. And so there's that. Rates remain high due to the Fed, Jerome Powell not dropping the rates, even though our inflation is 2.3%. But I think Trump said something about that. He said, "Are you going to have him drop the rates?" And he's like, "I'll have him drop the rates. How do you think you have the authority to make him?" And he will. I think he will. Pretty much. Anyway, it could be all three of these. But the good news is if you're not invested, if you're already invested and you're probably down a lot right now, and I understand it's scary because you're like, oh my God, thousands of dollars probably are leaving my bank account, which is rough and it's hard to stay on, but just have faith. Gotta have faith. Buy when low, double down. But if you're not invested, this could be potentially a good opportunity for you to get into the market at a great time. If you pay attention and you do your research on given stocks that you want to invest in, and you look at the long-term things of what you want to get into and what you believe in your heart, what's going to do good long term, then this could be a really good time for you to get in. So, do your research, and some of the ones I'm in is like Novo Nordisk, Novo, NVIDIA, Palantir, those types of things. Local news, Tejon Ranch unveils Tierra Vista apartments with resort-style amenities and scenic views. Arvin City Council meeting canceled due to lack of quorum. And there's nothing really else going on. Nothing really going on. Some crime, person, convicted for having sexual relations with a teen. A few other things, but nothing really that, important. So anyway, it's Fun Friday. We hope you have a wonderful weekend. This is the Paint the Town Red podcast.